Tuesday, April 6th. It's 5:15, and this is the Charter Revision Committee of Metro Council. I think pursuant to the best practices that we've followed, I'll make a motion regarding the executive order and then take attendance by combining that with the roll call vote of the executive order. So I make a motion that pursuant to Governor Lee's Executive Order number 78 regarding electronic meetings, I make a motion that this committee meeting agenda constitutes essential business of the Metropolitan Council and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Thanks very much. Any discussion? Of course not. I will take a roll, and if you could just be present, say present, and vote on that motion. Councilmember Roden?
Here.
Councilmember Henderson? I do believe Councilmember Henderson has a conflict in that she's in another committee. So Councilmember Lee? Councilmember Mendez?
Here.
Councilmember O'Connell? Councilmember Rosenberg?
Here.
Councilmember Vercher? Councilmember Welsh?
Here.
And chair is here and votes aye. One more time for Councilmember Henderson, Councilmember Lee, Councilmember O'Connell. All right, so
Chair,
that is.
Councilmember
Yes.
O'Connell is leading the traffic and parking committee presently. This is
Oh, very
Councilmember
good.
Henderson.
But you are here.
Yes, sir. I've just
Thank you so much. All right, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 6 in favor, 0 against, and motion passes. All right, so we have one resolution here on the agenda. That is Resolution RS 2021-837 by Councilmember Mendez. Provides amendments to the Charter of the Metro Government in accordance with Article 19, Section 19.01 thereof, and setting forth a brief description of each amendment to be placed upon the ballot. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All righty. Councilmember Mendez, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Chair. So I'm sure you all will remember that we met for a similar reason back in the fall. I think it was September. There was a petition that was put forward by Attorney Jim Roberts that was, at the time we talked about it being really fatally flawed, and but if it passed, making a mess of the charter. And that ultimately, the court system held that it was fatally flawed. It did not go on the ballot. Now, Mr. Roberts is in the middle of trying again, and as I'm sure you all know, has submitted signatures to the clerk. Those signatures are being counted at the Election Commission, and sometime, I know the Election Commission is meeting today. I understand they will not be voting today, but just have an informational session. But then sometime in the next couple of weeks, the Election Commission will decide whether to put that on the ballot. You know, my personal sense of the petition, I mean, nobody's paying me as a lawyer for that, but my sense is there are fewer procedural flaws. Maybe there are still some procedural flaws that will keep it off the ballot, but it makes just as big a mess of the charter as the previous one did. And I'll just give one example that has gotten, as far as I know, no press whatsoever, that should send shivers down the spine of any citizens of Davidson County, because I think it would literally grind the Metro government to a halt. One of the sections, it's section 2 of the petition, would rewrite how recall elections work. And currently, the deal is that if you want to recall me, you'd have to get 15% of the registered voters in the county to sign a petition, then I would be recalled and I would automatically be on the ballot, and then anybody else wanting to qualify could qualify. So like when the attempt was made on the mayor last summer, that was some 80,000 signatures that would have been required to get 15% of all registered voters. This petition changes that. So instead of 15% of registered voters, it's only 10% of people who voted in the last election. And it says that the recalled official cannot be on the ballot. So any of you who had an election in a district that maybe the vote was 55-45, 60-40, let's say 60-40, only if your opponent who lost, who got 40% of the vote, can go and collect the signatures of just a quarter of the people that voted for him or her, you'd be recalled and you'd be sidelined from the recall election. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to see where that would literally grind us to a halt, because anybody who lost would be able to pick off the person who won the election with relatively few signatures, and then the person couldn't rerun for the same spot. There's questionable legality there, but it would be terrible for Metro government. And I'm happy to answer questions about any of the specific sections of the petition. But fundamentally, what this resolution does, and I put it together with our council director, John Cooper, what it does is take every place where the petition creates ambiguity or conflicting provisions and resolves the conflicts in favor of the existing language. So voters would have a choice if Mr. Roberts' petition gets on the ballot, would have a choice to either choose his version or to choose the version that the council would pass that would resolve the conflicts, resolve ambiguities, define terms, and fundamentally give voters a choice to maintain the status quo on the charter. It's philosophically doing the same thing as the one we passed last fall. And it's necessarily a lot of legalese. I would refer anybody who wants to get into the weeds to take a look at Mr. Cooper's council analysis, because I think it's spot on. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions about specific provisions. But fundamentally, it's to blunt the attack on the charter coming from the petition in favor of clarifying ambiguities and defining terms in favor of the existing language.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Mendez. Any other discussion from committee members? I am not seeing any hands in the queue. Councilmember Henderson, the floor is yours.
Director Cooper, can you please just contextualize this in for our committee and the process of, charter revision? That, to Mr. Mendez's point, this is the second time we've kind of been here for this, and this is atypical. So can you kind of speak to more broadly kind of where this puts more proactive or council-led charter amendments? This is responsive to, the actions of Mr. Roberts, but can you just kind of comparative or contextualize that to more broadly what this committee is intended to do and can do within the context of this term, please?
Sure. So the previous amendment that the council passed included language making it conditional upon that previous petition getting on the ballot. As you know, the court did not allow it on the ballot, so therefore that resolution is null and void. So the council has not adopted any charter amendment resolutions at this point. Under the charter, the council can adopt 2 resolutions per year, per term, per 4-year term. And each resolution can have as many amendments as it wants, as long as they get 27 votes. So if this one passed and it did get on the ballot, the council would still have another opportunity to bring forth a resolution with as many charter amendments as it wanted to this term.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Councilmember Henderson. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Any other discussion from the committee or any other council members? I am not seeing any other hands, so therefore we will take a vote. Mr. Cooper, would you indulge us in taking the roll call?
I actually have just jumped in from the other meeting, so I don't have that agenda pulled up. If you can give me.
Oh, you're fine.
a minute.
I'll be happy to do it. No problem. You're just so good at it. Councilmember Roden,
Yes.
we are now taking the vote, a roll call vote on this resolution.
Aye.
All right.
Well, I was the first one. I didn't realize ours. I've never been first before. That's why I was a little confused. So.
In my agenda, you're on top.
Oh, there you go. Aye.
But you always are, Councilmember Roden.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Chair. Just point of clarification, my agenda says there was a proposed amendment. Have we just been discussing the
Oh, I apologize. Let's see here.
order of operations here? I didn't know we were voting on the.
You are correct. So we will roll back a moment. Councilmember Mendez, you have a housekeeping amendment, I believe, to this.
Yeah, let me move that amendment, and then after the second, I'm happy to give an explanation.
Okay. You want to move? Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Councilmember Mendez, the floor is yours for an explanation of the amendment.
All right, when Mr. Council Director Cooper and I were working on this, we had about 48 hours between when the petition was submitted and when we needed to file. And there's a typo in the summary where there's two extra words that need to be deleted. They're just extra words. And so the amendment just fixes that. With that, I renew the motion.
Very good. Thank you. Apologies again. Thank you, Councilmember Henderson. Yes, Councilmember Roden.
No, just seconding his motion, and then I will vote aye on the amendment.
Very good. We are now taking the vote.
This is Elizabeth White.
Yes. Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Chair. That was an error.
No, that's okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any other hands. We are going to vote on the amendment now. Councilmember Roden voted aye. Councilmember Henderson.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Rosenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Welch.
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. Amendment passes. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Mendez. You can now move your amended resolution.
Move the resolution as amended, please.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the amended resolution? Not seeing any hands. We will vote on the resolution as amended. Councilmember Roden.
Aye.
Councilmember Henderson.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Rosenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Welsh.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. The amended resolution passes. Not seeing any other business before this committee. Yes, Councilmember Mendez.
I'm sorry. I was rushing to get here, and there's another detail I forgot that Mr. Cooper, because the Charter Revision Commission meets on Thursday, we have to actually vote to for this. Is that right?
Yeah, so the committee vote can stand as recommending approval, but then on the floor tonight, it will need to be deferred one meeting so the Charter Revision Commission can meet, and they meet, I believe, on Thursday, this Thursday.
Correct.
All right. I guess I just, I'll ask the chair. I mean, I'm not expecting the Charter Revision Commission to do anything other than say looks good, because they considered the same sort of thing a few months ago. But do you want, would you prefer that I move tonight to defer with re-referral to this committee, or just consider that the committee reviewed it and that's that?
Is anyone on the committee? Yeah, Mr. Cooper. Yes.
What we can do is if the Charter Revision Commission recommends changes, then we will, I will make sure that it's referred back to this committee for next meeting. But if there are no recommended changes, then the approval could stand. If that works for the committee, however you want to handle it, it's fine.
Councilmember Mendez, is that okay?
Fine with me.
All right. Councilmember Henderson, you had a comment on that?
Chair, that was my suggestion, whether the, commission, recommends changes and or, any part of their discussion we think should inform changes to what we've passed here, we can always bring it back to committee. So, just to articulate that, this committee will be listening to the commission and taking that into account. And if needed, it can come back here. So, yeah, sorry.
Very good.
That's redundant, but I couldn't get my hand down in time.
No, thank you very much. Any other discussion on that? Very good. All right, thank you all. This committee stands adjourned.
Thanks, Chair.
Hey, Jeff,
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Very serious question here.
I'm listening.
Since I noticed R comes before like M and H, I was thinking, okay, Howard Roten come first, and I was thinking, did somehow I get made vice chair and didn't know by just being absent one day or something? Is that how that worked out?
I have the answer, Mr. Roten. What happened is you were chair last year.
Yeah.
And the chair was listed first, and they just changed the name of the chair, but didn't switch the order.
I just want to make sure if Jeff goes and jumps off, on a trip somewhere, I'm not supposed to be here or something. I'm just making sure.
For what it's worth, council member, I was put last on there. So
Thanks a lot, Chair. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Uh-huh.